Baruch haba and welcome to another Alef and Lev treasure. But this one is more like a month's worth of treasures. It was something I did not understand until about last night. I do my best thinking at night, and I was laying there and it just kind of was downloaded. But anyway, before I get ahead of myself, let's go to John 1:14 to begin. And John 1:14 says, "And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth." Speaking, of course, of Yeshua. So the Word of God, became flesh. Keep that in the back of your mind. Then we're going to go to John 6:55. Which says, this verse, I never understood it. Yeshua says, "For my flesh is food indeed, and my blood is drink indeed." Well, that never made any sense to me. And from what it says in Matthew, it kind of confused his disciples too. It says down in verse 60, "Therefore many of his disciples, when they heard this, said, 'This is a hard saying. Who can understand it?'" And then the question I pose for everyone is, does Elohim eat? Well, I pondered this a minute, and in Numbers 28:2, it says, "Command the children of Israel and say to them, my offering, my food for my offerings made by fire, as a sweet aroma to me, you shall be careful to offer to me at their appointed time." So, not Yeshua, but the Father is saying, talking about his food. And then in Leviticus 3:11, he says, "And the priest shall burn them on the altar as food, an offering made by fire to Yahovah." Let's go to that verse, because he is talking about food for him, for the Lord. 3:11. And that's the whole verse. But we're going to come back to this Leviticus 3 here in a minute anyway. But then in verse 16, it says, "And the priest shall burn them on the altar as food, an offering made by fire, for a sweet aroma, all the fat, Yahovah, to Yahovah." So twice in this chapter, we have that Yahweh is calling the fat his. It says, "But the people," he says, "shall not eat fat nor blood." So all the fat and the blood goes to the Father. All right, well, now that we've laid that little foundation, the Alef and Lev as food. Well, as I've read through a couple of different times looking for Alef and Lev treasures, I come across these verses that have Alef and Lev, 2 kidneys, Alef and Lev, fatty lobe on the liver, Alef and Lev, fatty lobe on the liver. I mean, they're like everywhere, and I marked them in my Bible, but I would just keep going because I didn't understand how the Alef and Lev could be the kidneys and the fat on the entrails and all that. But like I said last night, it was kind of just downloaded, and the fact that Yahweh does have food, I guess he eats like Yeshua ate after he was resurrected. So we have all these examples of food for Yahweh, and these are like sacrifices that the priests would do. Exodus 29:13, the fatty lobe on the liver. There's a vav and an aleph and tav. And in the same verse, it says ve'et, referring to the 2 kidneys and the fat on them. In Exodus 29, same chapter, verse 22, it has again the aleph and tav fatty lobe on the liver, and the aleph and tav 2 kidneys, and the aleph and tav right thigh. I mean, all these sacrifices that Yahweh was telling Moshe to do, and they have aleph and tav, standalone aleph and tavs in the verses. You can look these up for yourself in like a Blue Letter Bible or eSword, to where it pulls up the Hebrew, and you can see that it has standalone. All these are standalone aleph and tavs. And all the fat, the aleph and tav fat tail in Leviticus 7:3, Leviticus 7:4, and the aleph and tav 2 kidneys. The aleph and tav all the blood in Leviticus 4:18. And the aleph and tav fatty lobe, and the aleph and tav right thigh in Leviticus 8:25. And, well, I ran out of room, as you can see. These would be for Yahovah, and these verses would be the aleph and tav for food for the priests. In Exodus 29:27, the priests get the aleph and tav breast and the aleph and tav thigh. Or Leviticus 7:32, the priests get the aleph and tav right thigh, aleph and tav thigh of the heave offering. In Leviticus 7:34, the aleph and tav breast and the aleph and tav right thigh. Leviticus 9:21, and then Leviticus 10:14. Some more for the priests. And to save time on this video, I won't go into all that unless you put in the comments that you want me to look each one up, since I do have the Hebrew in mind too. You can see, the aleph and tavs highlighted or marked on these. But anyway, so Yeshua his flesh is food indeed, and his blood is drink indeed. Well, the blood would go to the Father, but the flesh went to the priests. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. It's kind of mind-blowing, actually, that he's everywhere in Torah. Yeshua lives, which means Torah lives. Have a blessed week. Shavua Tov.